Buying and selling of real estate has changed forever. In this video, I'm going to talk from a real world perspective. As a mortgage broker who has done over 1,200 real estate transactions, I get to see and hear from real estate agents, from buyers, from sellers, exactly what's going on. And post NAR settlement that happened about 2 weeks ago, August 17th, things are different in real estate. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what's different for buyers. I'm going to talk about what's different for sellers. I'm going to talk to real estate agents. I'm going to talk to investors. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the wild news that just came out yesterday that one of the attorneys who is involved with that landmark $418 million settlement with NAR and large brokerages across the country has a new startup, flat fee buy-side agents. We'll get to that at the end. But first and foremost, I'm a mortgage broker. That's my day job. It's what I do all day, every day. In that job, I'm CC'd on offers. I'm in communication with real estate agents. I'm talking to buyers. And so the questions that buyers are asking their agents, the questions that realtors have when they're negotiating with each other, that's what I want to share with you. That's always the goal here, is to be as transparent as possible with you, not just what you're reading in the headlines, but what's happening in the real world. So let's start with buyers, because this lawsuit said, buyers are now going to have to front that cost for the buy-side agent. It's not required that the list side pays for a buy-side agent like has been customary in years past. And so what buyers are seeing more than anything else, the change for them is that when they meet with a real estate agent, most brokerages across the country are having them sign what's called a buyer broker agreement. You sign that. I agree to work with Jane Smith. Jane Smith's fee is 2.5% that she's going to get paid to represent me as a buyer. Now, the conversation that's happening between the buy-side agent and that consumer is, hey, listen, that 2.5% is my fee. It might be paid by the seller out of proceeds. It might be paid from offering a higher price and getting a seller concession that covers the cost of that. Or if none of that happens, you, the buyer, are going to be responsible for that. Now, that's what it says. That can be scary for buyers. Oh my gosh, I'm a first-time home buyer buying something for $500,000. 2.5% is $12,500. I don't have that money. Well, what I'm seeing in practice is that 19 out of 20 listings, 95%-ish of what I've seen so far, is still offering commission to the buy-side agent who's bringing the buyer. They realize that they're going to net more and they're going to get more attention, attraction, people bidding on their home if they offer compensation to the buy-side agent, even when they're not, which I just had a case of that recently where their price was $500,000. They're not offering commission to the buy-side agent. The buy-side agent can still, since they're the negotiator on behalf of their client, come to the seller and say, I'm willing to pay you your full asking price, $500,000. I'm also going to have an addendum in this offer of ours that I'm going to get 2.5% commission, $12,500. Then the list side agent brings that to their seller and says, we've got someone willing to buy the property at $500,000, $12,500 being paid to their agent. So your net is going to be $487 minus the other fees involved in the transaction. And here's what you're going to get. Now, that seller might have other offers on the table that don't include a buy-side commission. But if those other offers are at $485 or $480 or $475, they're going to net more going with the offer that has a buy-side commission attached to it. So that negotiation piece is new. Great agents are already great at it. They've been open with their clients about a lot of things with the transaction well before this lawsuit. And this is no different for them. They're talking with their buyers. The best ones are explaining, hey, listen, if you're not in a position to pay that 2.5%, we're going to negotiate it, or that's not the house for us, right? 19 out of 20, it's already being offered anyway. So it's a no big deal. In the cases where it's not, we can negotiate those too. So don't be afraid if you're a buyer. Just make sure you're connected with a great agent who can explain that to you, and also is providing immense value to you as a buyer so that you feel that that $12,500 is earned, which it's earned 5 times over with great agents. Now let's talk about list side, because I think agents from the ones I've talked to have met with sellers that just see, hey, listen, instead of paying 6% to you, where you're able to give 3% to the buy side and you keep 3%. And this was like, something that they called it decoupling. They're no longer coupled together in that the 6% goes to list side. They share some with the buy side. There's none of that, right? You can offer some to your listing agent, some to your buy side agent, but it's not coupled together. For whatever reason, decoupled is the word they use because they're fancy lawyers and they got a big chunk of 418 million. So they got to use fancy words. So sellers are, some of them, reading the news, reading the headlines, which incorrectly state you're going to net more. You don't have to pay a buy side agent anymore. Saved 3% right off the bat. The problem with it is, in the real world, everything I've seen, it's in their best interest to offer that compensation to the buy side. If they don't, they're getting a lot less eyeballs on their home, or the eyeballs that do come are just submitting offers that have that buy side agent commission baked into it. And so they're going to have to choose, do I want to continue to sit on the market, or do I have a pretty nice offer just with the caveat that I'm going to pay the buy side agent? So again, more negotiations, more conversations, but not a lot different happening out in the real world besides the increase in conversations, which is a good thing, right? So if you're an investor, what you should probably know is that this is something that just goes into the seller's net. As an investor, you're probably a numbers person. Here's the price I can pay. Here's what it's going to rent for. You calculate numbers anyhow. And the only difference for you is now the seller is calculating that as well. If you're representing yourself or you're letting the listing agent represent you and they're dual ending it, buyer beware, right? If you think that someone can represent two different parties and have both parties' best interest at mind, it's only done by great agents. Some agents do it poorly, some do it unethically, but whatever the case may be, that's something to consider if you're an investor. To the real estate agents out there, rest assured that this, while some things have not changed, this is a shift. Things are different, right? And the conversations I'm having, there's a lot of agents leaning into it, a lot of agents getting really good at these conversations. As a mortgage broker, I'd love to sit down with somebody and say, hey, listen, I've got competitive rates and fees as a mortgage broker. I'm going to put together a pre-approval for you. I'm going to show you multiple scenarios. I'm going to answer your call on a Sunday. You just have to sign here that we're going to work together when you do find a house. Like, that would be phenomenal. We don't have that on the mortgage broker side. So count it as a blessing and count it as something that's forcing you to have more conversations and get better as a professional, right? That is going to come out of it for real estate agents. There's already real estate agents who aren't comfortable doing it, who aren't good at it, and who quite honestly are going to leave the industry in the next 6, 12, 24 months, which is another positive for great agents. You're going to have less agents out there competing for the business. Okay, finally, let's get to the real news that everybody's talking about, which is Sitzler, I think his name was. Sitzler. He was one of the lawyers in this lawsuit, right? And just yesterday, I believe, this news broke on TechCrunch and a couple other sites, and I saw a bunch of people sharing it who are interested. They started a new real estate startup. So I'll pull it up here. It might not be big enough to really see or read, but I think that it's interesting, and I'd go look it up, right? After winning landmark case against real estate agent, this startup aims to replace with a flat fee. This startup just happens to involve Mr. Josh Sitzer, right? So back in 2017, they listed their home for sale. They felt slighted. What the heck are real estate agents doing? So as any lawyer does, they find a way to, create a lawsuit around it. I'm sorry. I'm not bashing lawyers. I still want you guys to come to me for your home loans. But anyhow, interesting. And we'll see what happens. I've heard a lot of talk around the flaws in their model. And I've heard a lot of talk around the purple bricks, the help you, like the discount type brokerage models that have all failed. Who knows, right? But it's interesting. You pay a la carte. You can pay $49 for a showing. You can pay $149 for them to write an offer, or I don't know what they call it, something different besides writing an offer. It's a offer prep session, whatever the heck that means, right? They get on a Zoom call for 10 minutes and say, what do you want to offer? How many days contingency? Who knows? Or if you want like the package, it's $17.99, and that's their flat fee. The problem is it comes with 5 home tours and 2 offer prep sessions. If you're a real estate agent or you're a buyer in any relatively competitive market, you know full well very few only write 2 offers, only see 5 homes. Imagine. So what do? You do another 1,800 for the next batch. For the clients who have wrote 10 offers and seen 25 homes, do you got to buy 5 packages? Are you spending 10 grand? Maybe you're only buying something for 375, and that ends up being more than the 2.5 or 3%, which, oh, by the way, could have been negotiated for the list side to pay anyway. So they're going to have to figure it out. Who knows? I don't want to automatically say they're going to fail, but I would not invest in this startup. I'll leave it at that. So let me know what you're seeing, hearing, feeling in the marketplace. Comment down below. I'd love to get some feedback from what other folks are seeing, because real estate has changed. As of August 17th, 2024 and beyond, real estate is going to be, it's going to look different. And in a lot of ways for the better. In some ways, there's some ridiculousness with this on how agents have to operate and how they have to do certain things, but we gonna see. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all the things for the YouTube algorithm, because I enjoy doing these to talk to you about what's happening in the real world, not based on Yahoo Finance or CNBC or some clickbait article that's just looking for views. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.